You probably think you're making your own choices, but the truth is, most of the time we follow invisible rules. Social norms shape how you're talking, what you're wearing, what you say at work, and even what you think is acceptable to feel. That's why change feels so hard. In this video, I will explain how social conformity really works and why it keeps us stuck for so long, and then how you can escape it. And stay tuned until the end when I share a bonus tip how to reframe and how to start thinking about this completely differently. We evolved in a way that we belong to the tribe. We survived because of that. That's why our brain is scanning for acceptance because it doesn't want to be left alone. So we constantly scan for social approval. We copy, we mask, we mimic, we are imitating the other people. And what is the scary part about this? That after a while, you might be losing yourself because you're trying to conform, trying to fit into the group, and then you lose your authenticity. You lose who you really are. So people adjust their behavior to be accepted. And over time, you might lose the track of how you really think and feel. And change becomes playing the new role rather than becoming someone new that we always wanted to be. So behavior is only a symptom and is governed by the feelings underneath it. There's basic human psychology. Behavior is the symptom, feelings, emotions are the trigger, and the root is beliefs and identity. You're going there, you're trying to be accepted. You're trying to do what is right. You're trying to get information of what you're doing is acceptable. Is it acceptable to laugh at someone's jokes? Is it acceptable to make jokes at all? Is it acceptable to behave a little bit differently? You don't want to be making the wrong impression. You'd rather stay quiet than say something that is outside of the box. That's conformity in action, and it's exhausting because we need to adjust ourselves. It's not that the environment will adjust to us. We need to be adopting, and that is quite hard. We don't know how to do that, and it's very uncomfortable. That constitutes to growth. But something is for sure. If we want to be staying in that environment, if we want to be earning money or whatever it is for something, to get something from the outside, we will need to change our behavior and we will need to change our actions, maybe how we talk and what we find funny. I've been there. Most of the time I felt so inappropriate when entering a new environment. It was like I was restricting my behavior, by restricting my movements, I restricted my thinking. I wasn't allowed, I felt like, to do anything that I wanted because I wanted to be in that environment. And that is not the right way to approaching it. You need to be standing firm in your ground and have your environment adapt to you as well, not just you to the environment. Just imagine two people. Person A is trying to adopt very quickly, start using the jargon, start to change themselves, start to maybe judging the environment because they're not allowed to be themselves. They are not allowed to be who they really are. And that builds up resentment. If you are not allowed to say no to what is around you, you are losing agency and you're not going to be comfortable. And person B is expanding through when they go into a new environment. They absorb things, they choose what they want to be adopting, what is useful, what they bring to the environment, and they help the environment grow, not just themselves grow. For person B, adapting is not faking, it's expanding themselves. But for sure, when authenticity threatens belonging, most people choose belonging. Most of us learned when we were young that we need to be behaving in a certain way to be loved, to be accepted, to be valued. And that we bring to other environments as well, which can be useful. But if your acceptance, if the love that you're receiving is based on the actions that you're doing, and then you're not loved, you feel like, when you're not acting in that way, it starts to restrict the behavior that you allow to yourself. Everything has its utility. The key is to be able to see the same thing from different point of views. Even how you're acting, if it is conditional, then you can be learning something from that. But also, it is also valuable to to be accepted unconditionally and just to be able to exist in a way that you are, to have the right to be where you are, how you are, and where you are. And why change takes so long? Because conformity forces us to choose external approval. Most attempts to change target behavior. And when we are in an environment and we are loved for how we act, then we might start forgetting ourselves. We might not even know what we want, what we don't want, what our needs are, why we are there, what is our mission, what is our reason, what is our purpose. And we just start doing things repetitively because it is more comfortable, simply. When we talk about change, most of the people is clinging to their feelings, the emotions that they feel in a certain environment, in a certain situation. And we label it as the right feelings. This is right, this is not right. But right is slippery. Sometimes it means that it's socially accepted. Sometimes it means it's familiar. But what is right for you? What is right for us? That is the question. Do we really want it, or we choose it because that's the only available option? What I'm trying to say, that if you're under constant demand to adapt, to change your behavior, you might not end up questioning what you really want. You might not end up slowing down and actually get in touch with yourself and work from the inside out. How you want to be expressing yourself, what you want to be expressing, how you want to be in an environment, how you want to be as a person. And then you are in constant reaction to the environment. You're not creating from who you are. You're accepting what is around you and adapting to that. So we need to be more discerning about this. And we need to be choosing the environment in the way towards where we want to be going, towards who we want to be becoming. The higher are the demands, the more we need to be adapting, the more we need to be changing, the more painful it might be, but it might be worth it. But most of us shy away from certain situations because we already decided that it will cause more pain than pleasure. We are not thinking about it consciously, just in the short term. So most people just live in a trance called politeness, and they are accepting everything that is coming towards them. They're not setting new standards, but just think about it. If you're setting new standards, if you do not allow this and that to be happening in your life, you are not going to have them. And you are going to be aiming for things that is more aligned with you. Now, to address the elephant in the room, if you're setting higher standards, then there are less people, less situations that will align with it. So you need to be focusing more. You need to be searching for those situations even more. So those situations might be much more rare than you think, but you can do that. Don't confuse the possibilities that you are given with what you want. If your goal is to break free from social conditioning and create changes that actually last, please hit the subscribe button. We will be tackling everything about habits, about hacks, how to live more purposefully, and how to create more authentically and be more you. And here is when it gets interesting. What is an authentic self? To work, you do not necessarily want to bring your authentic self because it sabotages the mission. You don't want to be advocating for yourself all the time that, oh, this is me and this is how I do things. And this is my habits, this is my thoughts, whatever it is. You need to be mission driven sometimes. You need to be bringing your professional demeanor in some situations. And on the other hand, are you authentic when you're around people, when you're around your family, or you are just conforming into a different social dynamic that is not necessarily exactly the way you are? Personally, I found I need time to recharge. I need time to reflect, and to reflect in a way that, did I do things the best way I could? Or do I want to do things differently next time? How did I feel in that situation? Have that discernment. If I'm going to get into that environment, how will I be feeling? And when I get into that environment, did my expectations match to what I actually experienced? What I want to narrow it down to is that we need to be exploring, we need to be discovering ourselves. If we don't know ourselves yet, we need to be discerning about what we want and the future. And for that, to be able to understand ourselves, to be able to understand the world and other people, we need to be getting in touch with ourselves. We need to be owning our choices. So how to break the conformity trap in 3 steps. The first step is definitely awareness. You need to be noticing when you're acting for approval, when you're acting because you want to be pleasing someone, when you be acting there because the expectations are there, instead of how you are different to that, what you would be thinking, what are your own values. Step 2, creating the environment where you can think freely. That can be categorized under acceptance. When we get in touch with ourselves, when we explore what we really think, when we explore the world so we find what are we believing in. And that can be categorized under acceptance. When we are accepting ourselves, how we think, how we feel, when we explore the world and discover what we actually believe in, we are able to choose what we want to be doing with ourselves, with our time, and be more discerning about the future. So choosing spaces, choosing the time for us to explore our authentic thoughts and not just to be around people where we are adjusting what we are saying. That's why I think creating is so important, because when you're creating something, you put your whole self into it and you're exploring what that could potentially turn into. You're thinking about what you like and what you don't like, your preferences, your experiences, how you can put it more authentically. Or simply have some professional relationships or some personal relationships where you can actually say what you mean without filter. And that can be really rewarding. But unfortunately, I found that most of the people only give you feedback from what they think you can tolerate. So you're not really getting the honesty, the honest feedback from others. And that is a little bit concerning, because you will never know how you actually appear and what your choices can mean. So creating the environment where you can explore yourself with a coach, with your own creation, whatever it is, but to understand what you want, how you are in the world, what effect you're reaching with people, around people, with your creation, whatever you're doing. The third step is alignment. Instead of asking what is expected from me, what I should be doing in this environment, ask why you would need to be doing that and what is true for me. So what is true for you? Our own truth is our only reality. That's what needs to be accepted in order to be changed if we choose to. Rather than just live being controlled by our own beliefs, by unconscious forces, it has value to explore that and to understand why you do what you're doing, and then change the course if you don't like it. We all go through hard times. It is inevitable, but what we do with it and how we think about it, what meaning we give to it, is what changes us. If it gives us possibility or destroys us, and we better choose a positive meaning so it gives us the possibility to go further and to create empowerment, not just in us, but in our environment and in people around us. So here's the reframe that I promised you at the beginning. Approval can be a tool, can mean that we are accepted, that we feel comfortable in an environment, and that's amazing. But authenticity is the compass, how we navigate those little nuances in those environments. So we can all ask ourselves, when am I adjusting because it serves my role, my values, or the situation? Or am I just adjusting because I'm afraid of being rejected? One possibility is a conscious choice. The other one is a fear-driven reflex when we are reactive. But we should be creative rather than reactive. So thank you for watching. In the next video, I will break down the logical levels of change, which will show you exactly how real transformation begins. So subscribe if you want to go deeper. See you.